The year is 1878. British colonialism in South Africa is in full swing. Seeking to expand their rule, the British turned their sights towards the Kingdom of Zululand. However, they were dealt a surprise and stunning defeat at Isandlwana. That same day, outnumbered 25-1, the British would deal a defeat in return to the Zulu. The Battle of Roark's Drift began much like the battle for Isandlwana. In fact, they occurred only a few hours and 10 miles apart. For a more detailed breakdown of the conditions leading to the Anglo Zulu War, see my previous video on the Battle of Isandlwana in the description below or the card in the top right of the screen. As a quick summary, the British colonial ruler, Sir Bartle Frere, had provoked a war with the Zulu, led by King Khetshwayo. The chief British objective was to federate many African peoples into one nation under British rule. The Zulu, a militant and powerful people, resisted this subjugation. From there, the Anglo Zulu War was born. Due to overconfidence and incompetence in the British command, the Zulu dealt them a decisive defeat at Isandlwana, slaughtering almost 2,000 of the British and their Natal allies. Roark's Drift itself was a mission outpost. The drift, part of its name, indicates it was a ford of the nearby Buffalo River, hence making it a strategic position. As Lord Chelmsford led his invasion column into Zululand, he forded the river at Roark's Drift, leaving his sick and a small garrison at the mission. Soon after the force at Isandlwana encountered the Zulu, much of the garrison was ordered to reinforce them, leaving Lieutenant John Chard in command. The British at Isandlwana were defeated, with just a few dozen of the 800 surviving. Soon a few survivors reached Roark's Drift, with word that a Zulu contingent was short behind. The Zulu king, Khetshwayo, had given explicit instructions not to cross into Natal. He wanted to frame the war as a defensive one and sue for peace. The Zulu reserves of the Battle of Isandlwana, led by Prince Dabula Muzi Kamapande, disobeyed his order, crossing into Natal and assaulting Roark's Drift. The British fielded 150 infantry, mostly British regulars, armed with breech-loading rifles, as well as 100 Natal auxiliary cavalry, armed with carbines. The Zulu fielded 3,500 infantry, armed with both short and throwing spears, as well as cowhide shields. A scattering of Zulu had primitive and poorly maintained antique muskets. Soon the Zulu came. The Natal briefly engaged the Zulu as they approached, then ran. The Zulu assaulted the south wall, swinging around to the north side as they closed. These Zulu never reached the wall. The next wave went wide. Using underbrush as cover, they began a protracted attack, trying again and again to take the northwestern wall. At the end of the first hour or so, the battle was going well for the British. Their wall was tall enough that the Zulu couldn't easily climb it, and while the northwestern wall had outbreaks of hand-to-hand combat, the British kept the Zulu off the wall everywhere else. The Zulu then employed their muskets and began shooting from the high ground surrounding the mission. Their fire wasn't accurate, however, and the British saw them off with their rifles. Next, the Zulu chief urged their men forward and redoubled their attack, this time from more directions. They began to spill over the wall. The Brits gave ground before countering with bayonet charges. However, like at Isandlwana, there were simply too many Zulu. The British fell back behind a wall of biscuit boxes, which, using biscuits as fortification, has got to be the most British thing I've ever heard of. This left some men stranded in the hospital, which was now surrounded by Zulu, and shortly thereafter set on fire. The British fought their way free, but some of the hospital patients died in the fire. Night was falling, and fortunately for the British, the burning hospital gave off enough light for them to see the Zulu. After many hours, the Zulu finally retreated for the night. They reappeared the next day, but retreated after seeing British reinforcements in the distance. The Butcher's Bill. 17 British and over 600 Zulu died in this battle. The drift was saved, and the British lionized the battle to distract from their defeat at Isandlwana, but that shouldn't detract from the heroic defense of a hospital. The war would last for another half a year and would end with the Zulu nation shattered and under British rule.